This is the Telescopic World Season 1 Chapter 9. It is clear that the technology underlying the panopticon is decades ahead of the technology we traditionally use within the consumer economy. Our news feeds are specially tailored to match our consumer choices. Our written and spoken product is truncated by some overriding operating system, designed to eliminate problematic narratives from the system. It occurs to me that this reality in which we are living is likely not just behind in terms of technology, but in terms of time itself. In all probability, the world is already a communist, make-work project, wherein those with access live outside the panopticon, with the benefit of AI technology, which those inside can only imagine. This arrangement explains the clear way in which they appear to be able to alter our perceptions of reality. It explains the simulated nature of many of our professions. The appearance of legitimate institutional and government structures. But, I believe these structures, and their history, is fabricated. Everyone within the panopticon is living within a carefully staged reality, in which their jobs, their family, their hobbies, are artificially generated to placate them, while outside the panopticon, most notably the rich, are living with access to technologies far beyond our ability to comprehend. This is indeed a prison, but it is a communist prison. A make-work project. Designed to keep those of us still living with some modicum of reason to continue living, while the reality is we exist in an artificial reality. An amusement park. A history museum. For if anyone who had accepted the existence of the panopticon were to then pass verifiable, or even moderately persuasive accounts of what is happening outside to others trapped within it, the end result of such evidence would be civil unrest. Wouldn't it? I mean, if people knew that their entire lives were lived within a false reality. Working a job with no meaning. Arranged by a government that wasn't democratic. Would they still continue to go to the polls? Would they still continue to go to work? This question cannot be easily answered. Sometimes I wonder if everyone knows that this reality is artificial. Just as in East Germany, they all knew they were living in communist dystopia. Maybe what needs to happen is people need to wake up and realize that the wall is constructed not out of bricks, as it was in 1989, it is constructed out of lines of digital code. If people were to accept that we were all living in a fantasy world, that our elections were theater, that our jobs were meaningless, would they still continue to live their lives exactly as they had before? I suppose that's an open question. I suppose whether those living within the panopticon will wake up and recognize they are slaves, whether that realization will even trouble them, says more about us than it does about our captors. I try to imagine a world where people aren't blinded by empty arguments about class divides and racial divides, which exist purely to separate us into classes and make us much easier to rule. But I think I am a silent voice in the wilderness, who will be quickly silenced, though I continue to try to make my point with these podcasts. I know it is essentially pointless. That's the end of the podcast for today. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment and subscribe.